Friggin' what up, dude? Strider Wilson, I'm the host of this podcast that's mine. Going to be called History is Dank. History is Dank with Strider Wilson. Dankness from the past. Friggin' what up, dude? Freaking fired up for another ep of History is Dank, dude. I'm your host, Strider Wilson, dude. What up, Danktorians? We got Aaron on the sticks, dude. What up, Aaron?
What up?
Chilling, dude. You know what I've been doing, dude? I've been trying to get creative, dude. Modern man must seek to create, and art is one way of being everlasting, influencing young minds for a generation to come, and hopefully in a positive and benevolent way, dude. And the way I've chosen to do this is by tagging mattresses, dude. I'm tagging now, dude. Is that sick?
You mean like graffiti?
Yeah. I put it on mattresses because someone's going to get rid of them. And people put mattresses on my street, I would probably say every other day. There's a brand new mattress and box spring on the grass. Sonny's taking leaks on them. I watch him take a leak and I say, you know what? Why not just tag this? And I'm just putting dank on stuff. I put what up, put legit, just sick stuff, dude, to get people fired up. Someone's driving by, they see a mattress, and maybe they go, that's unsightly. But then on that, it just says legit. And then someone's like, all right, that's sick, dude. So that's kind of what I've been tagging, dude. And I might step it up and just really try to go full on video game character, maybe dye my hair like, part blue, part, like really like the hottest part of the flame, try to make my hair look like that, and then get on some rollerblades, just cruise around at night. Just create some sparks on the ground with some sick-ass titanium knee pads and just tag shit, dude. That's a sick way to pass my time, dude. Maybe even do that during the day. You see a dude like that in cargo shorts, knee pads, and rollerblades cruising around tagging mattresses, dude, that's sick as hell. I even think if cops saw me, they'd be like, I guess he's not on the sidewalk, which is where you maybe get a ticket for rollerblading because I'm not walking, because I'm rollerblading, and that's sick. And then I have no brakes, and I'm stopping D2 Mighty Duck style, by dragging the toe. And I'm tagging mattresses. So I'm tagging stuff that someone's there for waste, I'm sick as hell, dude. And I'm sharing this, Aaron. Are you doing anything artistic recently in these days, Aaron?
I can't say that I really am.
I think, we can find art in life all around. You can find art in lovemaking. You could try a new move. Maybe you place your hand, maybe it's artistic to place your hand on the back of your own hip. Sort of put one hand up in the air. Say, whoa, I'm getting into this stuff right here. You know what I mean? Raising the roof while enjoying a nice bone sesh. That's sick, dude. It's allegorical to a song, right? Of raising the roof,
I do think my pitching in softball has been artistic lately.
I love to hear something like that.
Yeah.
It absolutely fires me the hell up, and I would imagine that it is.
It's really been throwing people off, so it's good.
Keeping them guessing.
Mm-hmm.
They don't know what's coming next, and that's sick as hell, and that's a beautiful thing to be doing from the mound, and that, using your medium, that 60 feet space between, really it's like sculpting. You're using the void in order to put a pitch, and then hopefully continue that void as they swing and miss.
They're not so much swinging and missing, but they're not hitting it the way they want to, which is all that matters. Because
in softball, it's tough to get someone. If you're swinging and missing in softball, maybe you should not be. Maybe you should be switching it up and playing some kickball.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I feel the hell out of that, dude. And dude, I'm asking these artistic questions right now, dude, or I suppose questions about art, because today's episode is going to be very dank. We are focusing on two artists that I often confuse, Monet and Manet, dude.
Sure.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
How do we distinguish the two? There are definite features. You could use their first names. There's Claude Monet and Eduard Manet. Two French bros, dude. Somewhat of contemporaries. They do overlap, but Eduard Manet was precedes Monet and was somewhat influential to Monet. And I'm going to go through a few works here. We're going to study the history of their works. Not so much. We'll get into a little bit of the personal lives of these artists, but not too much. We'll sort of explore them through their works, a few of their masterpieces and such, and we'll cruise through it. And I think it's going to be a freaking dank ass app. This episode is brought to you by American Giant. American Giant knows the power of local. They know the clothes you wear every day should be beautiful and durable, dude. I wear the pocket tee basically every single day, dude. And look, I don't take huge fashion risks, dude. I got a navy one, a gray one, and a white one, dude. And I post up in them all the time, dude. I'm freaking fired up on those things, dude. And I'm fired up, dude, because honestly, it's locally sourced materials. The cotton's made right here, you know, local farmed and everything, dude. The t-shirts are made right here in LA, dude. Fired up on that, dude. And it's the holiday season, you know, and no one wants a sweater, dude. But you know what everyone does want is the greatest hoodie ever made, dude. You get me a legit hoodie on the freaking, you know, on Christmas, dude, whatever holiday you're celebrating this holiday season, I'm fired up, dude. Get me 8 hoodies for 8 nights in a row, dude. Fired up on that, dude. Classic full zip hoodie, dude. The greatest hoodie ever made, bro. And guess what? Santa doesn't have a cruise around the globe to deliver it. He's just got to walk, dude, because it's local, bro. So fired up on those American Giant hoodies and tees. Great gifts, dude. And honestly, last you all year and more. So go to american-giant.com and use promo code DANK for 20% off your order. That's american-giant.com and use promo code DANK for 20% off. Treat yourself, dude. I'm fired the hell up, dude. We've got a few images. So, you know, you do not need to watch on YouTube, but you can if you want to enjoy. If you're enjoying on your commute, I will do a good job of explaining, and I don't want to pat myself on the back, but creating a word picture for you to imagine and envision. And sort of escalating, you know, the medium from and taking it off the canvas through the sound waves and into your ears, and something that perhaps these artists didn't even intend but might really enjoy, that is happening to this day and age as we pay homage. And we're just really going to set ourselves up for some fire conversation pieces, dude. And what I find what's so dank about paintings, and I've said this before, but it's like you hear a comedy bit, you hear a song that you enjoy, you sort of immediately know why you like it, or you get a joke, or a song pumps you up, dude, you know? When I hear freaking Alt J, dude, just rocking it, dude, and I'm like, dude, and I hear that fire bass riff come in, dude, or a little bit of Papa Roach, dude, you know, even some freaking Fred Durst, dude, My Way, dude. I'm hearing that stuff. I want to crank up the tunes and I want to go off-roading. It's inspiring me. I get it. You know what I mean? When I think I'm not alone in this, I look at a painting and it's in a museum and there's millions of people that go and see it a year, and I look at it and I go, what the fuck's going on? Why? You know what I mean? Why? I don't get it. And I think that's sort of why people say, oh, painting's maybe pretentious or someone's an art connoisseur. Well, perhaps in this episode we'll break down and sort of, and especially when it comes to abstract works, you know what I mean? And I don't want to rip on, but I think it's great to understand what's going on, because there is technique, there is allegory, there's rules that are being broken and pushing back against the institution and sort of in modern art, which I think is very, very dank. But you do have to learn the rules to break them. And I'm going to rip on my niece here a little bit. She's 6, dude. And then my sister sent me her like art project, dude. And it was like stuff that she like painted, or not painted, but like cut stuff out and like pasted together. Mm-hmm. And my sister was like, oh, like, it's amazing. Like, look at her work. Like, her teacher said, like, she created this all by herself, and like, it really does stand out. And it's like just a bunch of fucking like cut out stuff. Like, honestly, if you told me a serial killer did it with like words in a magazine, like I'd be like the Zodiac did it, I would believe that. But I was like, nah, dude, if you're 6 and she like perfectly like created like a bowl of fruit and like captured proper shading, I'm like, all right, we've got a genius. You know what I mean? And that's what these artists are, like Monet, Manet. Monet came from a poor background. Manet came from a middle class, upper class background. And, but both of them had like technical skill at a very young age, you know?
I think if we saw your niece's classmates garbage, we'd be like, oh yeah, it is better.
Yeah, it's better. It's better. She might be at like, you know, there's the bell curve of grading and it's tough to grade art, but like hers is like significantly better, like maybe does have more imaginative and an eye behind it. But I'm like, nah, dude. If you're 6 and you're drawing a bowl of fruit and you've got lighting down and like you capture the shape of an orange, and I'm like, all right, dude, that's sick as hell. You have talent. Like adults can't do that. You know what I mean? Like you tell someone to draw a chair, they do like a stick figure. It's like, no, dude. Create the 3 dimensions, have the vision, create everything around it. That's freaking what's legit, dude. So basically what I'm saying is my niece sucks at art, dude. Nah, dude, I'm kidding, dude. Follow your dreams, dude. And you know what? Even Manet, his father pushed back against him, and he's one of the most foundational artists of all time. So, and influential artists of all time. But we are first starting with Claude Monet, dude, okay? He is an impressionist, okay? What is an impressionist? Impressionist paintings, dude, it's an attempt to accurately and objectively record a visual reality in terms of transient effects of light and color. So you're trying to capture an effervescent, ephemeral moment with your brushstrokes, dude. You're looking at something, you're looking at a landscape, whatever your subject is, a person, we'll even see it at times, and you are trying to capture that moment and the energy of that scene, the tone. This is a breakaway from traditional. There's something called the salon, where we're operating in France in the middle of the 20th century here, the 19th century, 1800s. And you have the salon. The salon is the art academy, and this is basically a group of dudes who know about art, and they say, this art is sick, this art is good, and we'll put this in our salon. It's how you get notoriety. Someone will buy your painting, and you can make a living that way. It's important for artists to get their work in the salon. But the salon is traditional. It's academic. You know, you have works like David that are accepted in the salon, even though they're progressive, but they still have classical themes, Greek themes, you know, heroes coming home from war, models, you know, beautiful nudes set in you know, classical era, things of that nature. And that's what is accepted, you know. Realistic brushstrokes, proper lighting, you know, but lighting that's not like real as you would see it in a moment through like the Tyndall effect of a mirror, but like, oh, glorious background highlighting like John the Baptist or some shit, you know. That's some salon stuff. So you get the impressionists who say, and maybe their works have been rejected, and they say, nah, dude, I'm over that stuff. Dude, I don't want to create Greek allegories, bro. I'm sick of painting Roman dudes, you know. I have these technical skills. I've gone to school. I've painted realistically, but now I want to just create something that's inside of me, and I want it to be put on the canvas. And that's what sort of impressionists are seeking to do. And that is a very modern feeling. That's this individualist, post-industrial revolutionary feeling that we have. And it's a huge shift in the art world. It's the artist's manipulation of color, tone, and texture as ends in themselves. That there is the art. And that is already a step towards the abstract, but we have to get there, and we'll journey there through Monet's works here. His first piece, Aaron, if you're ready, is View at Rueil-l'Evre, 1858. Claude Monet, dude. It's my beautiful French pronunciation. If you're looking at this...
Rueil-l'Havre.
Okay, Aaron, that's what we need, dude. Okay, how the hell do I say that?
Rueil-l'Havre.
Okay. Aaron's a fucking beast, dude. That's what I'm talking about, dude. You look at this painting and you go, oh, dude, it looks sort of like a blurry photograph. Like, it's pretty realistic. I see a dude fishing.
I legit thought it was a photograph.
Yeah. This is early Monet here, and he's using his realism, but already, you know, if a salon, one of the dudes from the academy was reviewing this piece, he'd say, too blurry of trees in the background. I really can't see why can't I see this man's, not his expression on his face, but he doesn't look finished. I see some shading and some shadows there of a man with his fishing pole in the pond, and in the grass, I could see much more detail in there. We do have a little detail in the bushes, but really why this is an impressionist piece is if you look at the sky, you can see a time of day. I mean, you would obviously see one in a realistic piece, but there's much more play with the shading and the light there, and especially in the pond. The way the reflection is bouncing off the pond water there, and the light is brighter down there. So Monet's already playing with light and time of day and trying to capture a moment in this piece. So it's very, very early impressionist work here, rejected from the salon, but was put up in, Monet and some of his contemporaries, Cezanne, Pissarro, Degas. They set up their own, do you hear how I say those names, Aaron? I mean, you have to say those in passing as if you have a relationship with the artist. That's how it's called, a power move. I'm very, very big on power moves in art knowledge. Really, the whole reason I enjoy knowledge of art is it's a power move. Because I cannot power clean that much, I will learn more about art, and then I will hold that over somebody's head.
Sure.
In conversation at a party setting, a cocktail hour, if you will. So this is from Monet's, this view is of Monet's early childhood. He went there and painted this, and so it was something that he had an emotional connection to and wanted to capture the moment of it, perhaps a moment that he, a summer moment that he saw this scene many, many times and put it down on canvas. And basically the reason I chose this piece is it's a good example of an early work of his, and basically shows you him knowing the rules of realism and then therefore going on to break them. And we will see this in his next work called Impression Sunrise. So you can already see here the lack of vivid detail. You can see ships in the background. And what this painting does more than anything is create a mood and a tone. It's a harbor. And you can see the smokestacks in the background and these ships in modern man, in industry. You have the flow of the water and those intense, brief brushstrokes, which were and honestly kind of fatter than typical Impressionist works. But this is an early one. And honestly, Monet in an interview said this wasn't even a finished work, but he wanted to put it up in that salon that him and his peers put on, Degas, Pissarro, put up. In fact, in the top left, you can actually see some of the canvas, but that doesn't matter because he has captured a fleeting moment. You can see almost the movement. He wants to capture movement on the canvas to put emphasis on that moment of ephemeral moment, that everything is always changing, which will be very influential for Picasso down the road, who's into multiple perspective. But this movement on canvas and in this medium is really highlighted here. Very, very dank. And the tone of it seems bleak, not as joyous. And you look at the lighting that he's playing with. He has the sun. It's a very prominent. It stands out immediately to the eye. It's dancing off of the water here. And so its sun is down. I get a feeling of, I don't get a joyous feeling from this work, although it's very dank. Aaron, what do you feel when you look at this piece?
Yeah. It is maybe someone trying to get away,
like, dude,
late in the day.
It's interesting that you say that. You can't tell if the boats are going towards or away from you. I feel as if they're going away. I feel like as if it's like things are changing and they're leaving me. Like I'm watching, even the times are changing with the smokestacks. It's truly capturing an era.
Now that I think about it, it says sunrise, so it's obviously early in the day.
Right.
No, I think the first boat, the one that's right in the middle up front, is going out. Like it's a father and son fisherman.
Yes.
Like the dad's in the back rowing steering the boat.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if they'd have powered boats at this point.
No. I mean, yeah, they would have like steam, stuff like that, but not those boats. Those are some rowboats.
So somebody's rowing, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
The son's rowing, dad's steering.
Yeah, you're right. And it is sunrise. And you got to respect that he got up early to make this, dude, because he would want it to paint it. And we're moving on to his masterpiece. And the indicator of the difference between a Monet and a Manet. If you're looking at Lilies, you are looking at a Monet, hands down, Claude Monet. So Water Lilies, 1916 by Claude Monet. This is a series that he did. And this is very important for Impressionism because Monet, and he said himself, his greatest masterpiece was his actual physical garden that he created. He would sell works in the salon, and he was always sort of scrapping for cash and stuff. And, later did become, and I mentioned this on that Napoleon Bonaparte episode, that like Leçon d'honneur, where like the French government would give you this high award for basically heightening society and giving back. And it was, titans of industry would get it and artists would get it. And Claude Monet received that for his work. Later in his life, obviously, we've traveled in time now. Our first work was 1858, and now we're in 1916, right? So he's an older age at this time, and he's basically truly an all-out impressionist, and he's taking the same subject matter, these water lilies in this pond, and he'd sit out there in his garden, and he would paint them, and he would paint how he felt and how the light was playing with it on that day. So the fact that it's in a series of works, I believe there's like, I think 25 canvases were in his original exhibition, and then 48 later. He even designed a room of how he wanted people to like observe them. You can still go see that today. And he destroyed canvases. He had a lot of loss later in his life. I think he lost his wife and his child. So, and he even lost his vision. And one of the lilies that he paints is like of his Japanese bridge in 1923. And he had surgery, like corrective surgery, but during it, like you look at that work and it's very red and the colors are very, very, getting into a word that I'm going to drop right now, Aaron, abstract. even if you look at these lilies here, they're not perfectly in detail. He's really just trying to play with how he sees the light, capturing it in the mood that he's feeling around that light and that tone.
It's kind of like looking at a realistic painting, but without your glasses on.
Yeah, yeah. And I wear contacts and I can feel that 100%.
But you're right, though. It does feel like there's motion,
Mm-hmm.
even though obviously it's not.
You can see that in the brush strokes.
Yeah. And we don't even have like a real, like a human subject to, like the previous two to follow.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it still feels like it's moving.
And it's interesting. And then if you go on to this next work, part of the Water Lily series, this one is entitled Water Lily's Pond, Evening Panel, 1926. So years later, like I mentioned, this was a later life work, but would be a full body of work if he did nothing else.
He lived a long life.
Yeah, he did. He did. This is fully dabbling into the abstract. This is that same pond, that same view, but this is what he's feeling as he's looking at it. This is the moment that he's captured on canvas. And while you might prefer the other lilies, just visually and aesthetically, this aesthetic that he's created is now abstract. He's gone from realism, his classical training. He knows the rules, and you must learn the rules to break the rules. Like fucking Morpheus says, dude, some rules are meant to be bent, others are meant to be broken. He says that to Neo, which is sick. Anytime you can invoke the Matrix when talking about anything, that's tight. So I'm friggin' fired up that I just did that. But this is hugely influential piece because it opens the doors for artists to create abstract works. I mean, this looks fully abstract. If I didn't know this was called water lilies, I would not know that I'm looking at water lilies.
Yeah.
But that's what it is, and that's the point of an abstract work. It's creating this emotion, and it does seem like a peaceful work. You know what I mean? Like the colors, I still get this emotion of peace and serenity when I'm looking at it. I mean, you do have the brighter colors there, which could, which would influence, Van Gogh. He said he is heavily influenced by Monet and is an expressionist art, which really has vivid colors. I wouldn't say these colors are vivid or anything, but they're very dank. And I look at it and I go, yeah, I do get the same feeling I would of just posting up, maybe sipping on a legit ass IPA, scoping a dank ass pond, watching some frogs hop around, dude. In the French countryside, dude. Maybe eating a piece of sourdough bread, dude.
What if, this is 10 years after the previous one, what if he just got worse at art?
Dude, it'd be so hilarious. I know, dude. Dude, I always do think that with abstract stuff where it's oh, that's why you must learn the rules to break them. I truly feel like you need, at some point in your career, to accurately draw a bowl of fruit or a portrait to then be able to do abstract art. You can't just be dude, I don't know, unless your medium's amazing. It's all about the idea, right? And he's the first one to have this idea, at least him and his peers, and to do it prominently and get the most notoriety for it. I feel like for every famous artist, there's 2 or 3 dudes who just got drunk or had to go work at the factory, And same with comedy. I feel like that's how it always goes. And athletes too. Growing up, there's always a dude who's athletic, but just maybe life got to him and they weren't able to create. So that's why we got to celebrate the ones that do get through, in honor of those. You got to pour one out for your dudes. You maybe pour out some paint for your dudes that never made it, dude. But it would be hilarious if he was super bad at art and old and literally his brush strokes. He's no. When I shake, when I paint the brush, it's like an earthquake. The earthquakes are fleeting, and that's what the whole point is. These fleeting things, tragedy can strike at any time. It's shut up, dude. I recently tried to commission a work of art, and it was way out of my budget. It'd be so dank if I was able to do it. And honestly, dude, it's inspired me to work harder and get the funds so I can do it. But also what I could do is for my dank ass fiance and I's wedding fund, I could just take money from there and get this portrait made. I don't think she'd be happy. And I already want to get a motorcycle and say, hey, you can use it too. I mean, if I get the portrait and I hang it up, it's look, I'm designing our place together. You know what I mean? It's not, you can't not look at it. It's going to be pretty big and you can look at it and it's sick and it would invoke emotions of freaking stoke. So I'm stoked on Claude Monet, dude. You've got the lilies, bro. He's an impressionist. He's all about creating this fleeting moment and really a play with light, right? how to play with light in that moment and capture that motion on canvas. And that's truly what takes him and really his lasting impact on the modern world. And really, he takes the first stroke, if you will, at abstract. Opens the doors for many, many more Dank artists to come. So now we move on to Eduardo Manet. Once again, this podcast is brought to you by American Giant, dude. They've got the most legit hoodies. It's been called the greatest hoodie ever made, and I got to agree, dude, because American Giant commits themselves to uncompromising focus on quality. They use durable materials. They do locally sourced materials. When they buy stuff, they're helping out whole communities in the process. It's like, look, it's like, dude, when I go out on a freaking Dank dinner with my Dank fiance, I like to go somewhere farm to table. You know, it's sick, dude. And, you know, the cow or chicken's out back. I mean, she's vegetarian, but whatever, dude. I'm going to cruise on a nice steak. It's nice to know that cow is locally sourced. Same goes for your clothes, dude. It's nice to know that you're helping out your community when you make this purchase and it's going to someone in your community. And honestly, I'm wearing it all the time, dude. I was shooting this Explorer show, hint, hint, kind of a cool project coming up. And I cruised out to the desert, dude, and I wore my freaking slub tee during the day, which was legit, dude. Handled my friggin' copious amounts of sweat out there, dude. And then at nighttime, dude, the desert has a huge temperature swing, dude, a vast temperature swing. So at night, I just threw on the hoodie and I was good to go. I was just rocking it and just playing beep pong at night with the dudes in the crew. So just wearing nothing but my hoodie. I mean, yeah, I had pants on, but also just wearing my hoodie, which was legit. So I love it, dude. It's my go-to hoodie. I throw it on all the time. I'd wear it in formal occasions if I could. So honestly, dude, I might gift it to my bros this holiday season, dude. Someone who I really care about, who I really think could use a sick-ass hoodie. I'm probably going to tell them, yo, American Giant, except I won't tell them. I'll tell them when they open the gift because I still want it to be a surprise on that special day. So great for gifts, dude. You know, set of T-shirts, always a great gift idea. Nobody wants a sweater, like I said, but everyone wants a sick hoodie. So it's a great gift item, honestly, for yourself and, you know, bros that you love. So cruise out to American Giant's collection of durable essentials at american-giant.com and you get 20% off when you use code DANK at checkout. That's 20% off at american-giant.com, promo code DANK. Treat yourself, dude. Interesting that I did Monet first because Manet was painted prior to Monet and influenced him and was his contemporary to a degree. Eduardo Manet did adopt some of the Impressionist style, but was never considered and did not consider himself to be an Impressionist. So don't let that confuse you. And their works are, there are similarities, but Manet's goal wasn't to capture, like Monet was, his goal wanted to capture this fleeting moment, play with light and change and impression and the feeling that he gets and put that tone on canvas. Manet was playing with cultural norms, and he was somewhat of a badass, somewhat of a rogue, and his position in life, like I mentioned, he grew up upper middle class. He didn't really have to sell paintings to survive, so he had the comfort and the backdrop of a steady, you know, he always had meals on the table. His father was a successful guy. And so he sort of had to rebel against his dad and to become an artist, but then his dad did see that he had skill, and so then he paid for him to study with an artist that most others wouldn't, and he traveled around Europe. Therefore, he was able to, he had influence from a lot of great different artists. So he was really, really lucky in that regard. And because of his social position, he was able to push back against the salon. He always wanted his works to get in the salon. He did want that notoriety, but he also wanted it on his own terms. So he had a lot of critics, and we will get into why he had a lot of critics through exploring his works. So let's check out his first piece here, a very dank one. Aaron, if you will, go ahead and bring it up.
Is it the butterfly one?
Yes. Yeah. Pull that one up.
That one's in the order you gave me, so.
Yeah, is it in there? Let's take a look. Oh, I don't know, actually. Okay, this must have mistakenly got in there. Well, this is actually a Boris Vallejo, See the Butterfly. Very dank. You have, pardon me, an absolute, my fiance doesn't like when I say this, smoke. What I would imagine what every barista does on her day off, just posting up. And I'd imagine this jacked barista is probably works at a coffee shop next to an Orange Theory Fitness. And I say she's a barista because she has arm tattoos, a leg tattoo. Or those could be maybe bracelets that are put on there. I don't know. But she's observing some butterflies and I don't know how this got in here. I mean, maybe you could see, I mean, it does take place in a garden of some sorts or in the upper canopy of a mythical rainforest, where she's maybe observing a fleeting moment like Monet would like to capture, of a butterfly flying away. I mean, what's more fleeting than that? A butterfly in the wind. So perhaps impressionist to a degree, but no, this is oil on canvas, a lot of bright color displayed here, but definitely a darker tone in the background. Aaron, what do you feel when you look at this dank-ass work by Boris Vallejo?
I mean, he's just great. Like, just the way her hair flows. Like,
you can feel the movement in the hair.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Since she's obviously,
and it captures
bodacious.
Yeah, and it captures the human body, which in the feminine physique, which is a motif that's explored in an aesthetic that's explored ever since the beginning of art. I think when they dig up structures in Mesopotamia and stuff, like it's a statue of a pregnant woman that was sculpted. So something that's existed since the dawn of man. And it continues very dankly, in my opinion, here. But sorry that slipped in there, Aaron. Maybe we'll continue on to Édouard Manet's masterpiece, Luncheon on the Grass. This here is arguably considered, with a few other works, to be the first work of modern art. Once again, fittingly, we have a nude woman here in the foreground, which is nothing new in art. We've seen that all the time. But what makes this so special? And I believe when this was put on display, I think 2 French police officers had to stand in front of it, so they probably weren't that tough. Kidding, dude. Kidding, dude. Sorry to the French out there, dude. The fact that you have this model, a very classic-looking model, juxtaposed to 2 modern bourgeois French men, very outrageous. Very outrageous to put a classic model not in a classic setting and in a contemporary setting, and only have the woman nude and not the man. So very outrageous to do this, and this is a commentary, and this is a breaking away and a pushing back by Manet against the Academy, saying, fuck you. Look what I can do. I can take your motifs. I can do your themes. I can have the proper allegory to Virgil or whatever work it is. Any classic Greek theme of he's taking a classical subject and putting it in a modern setting with clothed men to say, look at you. Are we being, what is it saying to the viewer? Are you being a perv by looking at these things? What's so great about these classical models? What we need to be painting is now. The art is happening around us. Let's capture it. What's going on here?
Yeah, it really feels like we captured up, like we just caught these people out in the woods.
Yeah.
I don't know what the lady in the background's doing.
The lady in the background she's changing out. I believe it's another model, and that's another thing where you say, oh, did these men hire 2 prostitutes or something like that, and did they just enjoy them? So is this sort of debaucherous? And if you were to paint that very, very against the norm, they should be, if they were a nude model, they should be painted, they should be goddesses, they should be honored. You can't put a prostitute in sort of this pose with her it looks like she's being introspective, and she's aware that the viewer's looking at them, breaking the fourth, looking straight at the viewer. Very bold. Yeah. Not a model in her time. The viewer doesn't have the power of looking in on this. It sort of takes the power away from you. And emboldens this woman who may or may not be a prostitute, and perhaps the deed is done and the woman's changing there, or they're about to get down to business. The bowl of fruit is already splayed, so if they were to have had an orgy, which is legit, it looks like it's done because the fruit is half eaten, and now they're just lounging around.
I don't know. They could just be out there. They're like, hey, we're just 2 dudes, and these are 2 freaky chicks, and we're just hanging out. We're just having a convo.
Legit, and I'm fired up on that. But Aaron, here's the thing. Yeah, it's luncheon on the grass, right?
Yeah.
Maybe some munching on the grass, dude.
Maybe.
And guess what? That's a very progressive thought that we're having. Okay, for us to talk about now. At this time, when the work came out, people were upset. So very modern to break away from the classics, and to do so, Manet very, very intelligently does so by still invoking traditional themes, but putting them in this contemporary setting. And he continues this. Actually, that piece wasn't guarded by 2 cops. This next piece was. Olympia, 1856. So you look at this, I'm looking at this now, and this is why I say when I look at a painting and I see this painting, and I don't know what's going on with the salon or the art world, the middle 1800s, this sort of rising individualism and workers' rights, and even though they're being exploited in factories and such, but you have people learning to read more, and there's this contemporary, there's the boom of the individual in this era, right? Across many mediums, and paintings is definitely one of them. I would see this and I'd go, all right, you've got a naked lady on a bed, like I've seen that a billion times. Cool, next painting, like, Mom, when are we gonna get lunch? You know? If I'm a spoiled little bitch-ass kid like I was on a tour growing up, dude, taking in all this art, having zero appreciation for it, but now I'm developing the eye, and that's how you appreciate it. So I hope we can learn to appreciate this together. So what you have here is Olympia, so that's a hearkening to a Greek model, a Greek god, right? And the fact that this model's nude, and she's in a classical pose, but the subject matter around it, you have her servant handing her a bouquet of flowers, which therefore says that maybe this came from a client. Maybe this is actually a prostitute, but a prostitute in a classical goddess pose, we're praising a prostitute. No. We should be disrespecting them, right? That's what we do. So it's empowering this prostitute. Very, very avant-garde aesthetic and theme, if you will. Avant-garde, French term for forefront. So very progressive. Anything that's avant-garde is progressive, pushing the boundaries of art.
She also doesn't really have nipples.
Yeah, I mean, you could say that's like a choice. The way the
certainly.
light was dancing right there in an impressionist, and invoking an impressionist thing there with the boldness of the light here. Mm-hmm. And you have this, you can barely see this black cat at the foot of the bed. Critics would say, and often thematically, you have iconography and themes and symbolism in art. The black cat was the devil and very evil. So people saying, oh, Monet, this is devilish. This is an evil work. And that's why, like, cops had to be out there. He's like, no, dude, like, she just has a cat.
Yeah.
You know?
She's covered her parts and she doesn't have nipples. So, I mean, it's like, this is as family friendly as you can get.
100%.
Nude.
That's why he's being smart. He's not doing anything. It's nothing blue. It's not even a ribald joke. If it is a joke, and that's what people worried. They go, is this a parody of other paintings? Is he mocking them? He's like, no, I'm not mocking. She's looking at you. She's like, I'm telling the viewer, by looking at this, take a look inward. He wants to invoke honest introspection, dude. So he's being a beast, dude. He rejects his traditional art training, Aaron. He does not paint the nipple on there. That's him boldly saying, I do not care about painting that nipple. That's not the point of this piece, to be realistic. The point of this piece is to capture an era and a moment, and to throw it back at the art world. And it's badass, dude. And he's able to do it because, like I said, this hurts his reputation. People aren't going to buy his other works, but he grew up wealthy, and so he has the means by which to do this when other artists of his time perhaps wanted to and could have, and maybe even done better. But he does it very, very well, and he plays with all the, proper themes and stuff like that. So it's freaking absolute beast, dude. Let's do one more. This is a bar at the, Jesus, Aaron, I'm gonna butcher this. Folies-Bergère. Le bar Bergère. Dude, I just got to say it in my own terms, just own it myself. Why try to be what I'm not? I mean, I want to look at it and I want to say a bar at the Folies-Bergère, dude.
Yeah, that works for me.
The Folies-Bergère, bro. Maybe they got sick-ass restaurant burgers there. This is 1882. So you're looking at this, and it doesn't seem as bold as the other pieces. This is a clothed woman, but it's a woman, and the subject matter is a working-class woman. The expression on her face, if anyone's ever worked any service industry job, you've had that expression on your face.
Sure.
The fact that he's capturing the emotion in his subject, and that's sort of, people feel there's emotion in Da Vinci's Mona Lisa. That's why it's like very interesting. She's sort of giving a sly smile. Right here, she has a sad, dejected look on her face. And then also he plays with perspective here. That's a reflection that you're looking at. So he's really highlighting that reflective of the viewer. The viewer can't see themselves in this, but perhaps the viewer is that man right there. And then look how close that man is to the woman. We're too close. Is he saying, dude, back off, bro. And it doesn't quite make sense because you look at the painting, you stand in front of it, you look at it head on, but that angle doesn't match up.
Yeah.
So
she's a little more hunched over in the reflection than
exactly
standing straight in front of you.
Could be argued, oh, is that someone different? But no, this is like a mirror in the background that's playing there. And people that have, like, this is an actual bar from this era, so there isn't like it's not like a double island bar where that's something going on in the background.
Yeah.
It's very much a reflection, and it's very much saying, you know, it's a commentary on male and an imposing scale on the female, and it sounds like Monet was maybe an early feminist, right? And he's this painter, and this really sets him up for his being a painter of modern life. He's capturing this sort of belabored look that's on this bartender's face of her having to deal with clientele and dudes probably hitting on her all the time. And it's a viewpoint that has never really been explored before this, at least successfully. And he does it very, very well. And he captures also this idea that's very, very influential to perhaps an artist. Maybe you heard of him, Pablo Picasso, because like I mentioned with the perspective not matching up, there is a proper angle, and that's sort of the fun you can have with the painting as you move around it, of going, oh, should I stand here? And how do I match up as this man, and what perspective? Like, if you imagine that you're not that guy, who are you observing this moment? And are you the artist? And is that what he's trying to say? Like, we're all observing these things around us that are happening around us. Like, take your seat, your single perspective, and observe the world around you and have empathy for it.
What's interesting is that this painting and the previous one, the woman's wearing a bracelet on her right wrist in kind of the same way, same style.
I would imagine that's probably maybe a Greek theme. Maybe you would have a lot of times a goddess or something like that wearing a bracelet. It does show a bit of wealth that she would have something like that, jewelry to a degree. She has a very bold necklace, you know, who I would not imagine it's real or anything like that, but also could just be something that's popular item of the era. And he's painting that era, and maybe that's to say, oh, this is definitely of this era, although you see the top hats in the modern clothing as well. Perhaps the bracelet is part of that. A very dank ass eye that you have, Aaron, to capture that. And the fact that it invokes questions, I mean, that's what it's all about, you know?
I love that he drew the labels too, like on the bottles and stuff. Like
realism. He's capturing his time, dude.
Yeah.
It's sick. I mean, dude, being able to talk like that about an artwork, I mean, that's the best. Then you go home on a date. I mean, a museum date, it's a great place to go for any Danktorians listening, and then go home and have stand-up sex is one of the sickest things that you can do. You know, Thomas Crown Affair, I mean, you know, have fun, talk about heisting art would be so sick. I'd love to heist art, then just give it back. You know, call it sport heisting, like sport fishing. Then just give it back. Be like, oh, dude, sorry, dude, I had to take my glider here and just listen to some sick-ass Nina Simone and just jack some art, dude.
Catch and release.
Yeah, exactly. I think it's one of the sickest things that you can do. Honestly, it's my definition of success. That and being able to play Xbox and whack off without feeling guilt. Gotta have goals, guys. Gotta have goals. And that's sick, dude. I mean, those are your differences between Monet and Manet. Monet capturing fleeting, effervescent, ephemeral moments through light, texture, tone. Manet punching back at the man, social commentary, painting the now in very different senses, right? Monet capturing the now, the feeling that he has about it. Manet capturing the now, the cultural impact of it. So very, very dank artists, both modern in their own regards. You guys have taken a quick little journey in through the masters here, and it's very fun to do so. I think we got time maybe for one question, and let's bone the hell out of here. What do you say, Aaron?
Let's do it.
Sick, dude. All right, hey Strider and Aaron, love the pod and dank knowledge of history. I'm coming to the leader of the love guru with a hot and heavy question. I went on a date with this guy who I've known casually for a long time, but we never hung out much. We went out to a bar and had a great time, connecting really well, and ended up sleeping together on the first date. The problem is I went into the night feeling very casual, but I caught major feelings for this guy. How do I make sure he sees me as a serious option for his long term and not as a weekly one-night stand before the Sunday scaries? Thanks, M. M, that's a great question. It's a very, very fantastic question. First of all, I'm fired up. I'm fired up that you guys had this dank moment. you know, maybe people will set boundaries. Oh, I don't kiss until the third date, whatever. I mean, look, you know, you guys went out there and you had a nice time. You hit it off and you made some love. Good for you. You're young. You're living life. Live it. You know, you're two adults both having agency and consent. And I love that. That fires me the hell up, dude. Hopefully you guys had a sick-ass tapas style dinner before that, dude. But now you're worried, oh, is this guy going to think? And I think, you know, it's tough, me being a man, it's difficult to have the female perspective, but I think this is something that we've seen in plenty of films of just going, and, you know, there's douchebag guys out there that say, oh, dude, you know, I hooked up with this girl. She's down, dude. I'm getting what I want right now. But you want to make sure that this guy wants more than just the physical contact like you do. You want more. You want the relationship. And how do you get the value? I mean, you know, we accept the love we deserve, dude. I was saying this to Aaron before this, dude. Paul Rudd, person being a wallflower. What up, dude? So I think, you know, we can't control others. You can control your actions. You can control what you put forth. You know, don't deny yourself a nice D piece, Em. If this guy's got a good D piece, go get it. Enjoy yourself. But, you know, you got to let him know.
Yeah, you got to let him know. I think that's the big thing.
That's it. That's it. Just be up front. And you're worried about scaring off this nice D piece. You know, he's worried about losing you too. So, you know, hopefully he's not a liar and a snake. But, you know, it sounds like you guys hit it off and you caught feelings. He's probably not like that unless and if he gets one over on you, you know, you've been fooled, chalk it up, you lived a little bit of life, you got to feel the hurt sometimes. But we put ourselves out there in love. So I think you got to go for it, but put your honest foot forward, let him know, hey, I have feelings for you more than physical. And while I do enjoy the physical and want to keep that going for sure, I think just, you know, let you know, don't go playing games with my heart.
Couldn't if I tried.
Couldn't if I tried.
Oh, no,
and that's
sorry.
What's up.
That's, yeah, I did Elton John and Kiki D, and you did, that was Backstreet Boys.
Aaron, 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 you have a great ear and eye. Not surprised that you have a great ear, though. You're the king, you're the master of the sticks, yeah. But also a great artistic eye. And I think, you know, tell him, you know, lead with honesty. Let him know you have these feelings. You don't have to put it all dramatic. I love you. I need to be with you. Hey,
yeah, exactly.
I don't just want this to be about boning. I like you. I hope you like me back. You know what I mean?
I want to see you again.
Yeah.
That's it.
Exactly.
I want to see you again.
And then if, you know, and there are telltale signs. If he's only hitting you up late at night, if he's only hitting you up on the Sunday before the Sunday scaries, you know, then maybe you got to go, hey, I feel like you're only hitting up me up these times. What's going on with that? I texted you during the week. What's up? So I love this question. A great question. It's an age-old thing. I don't think there's any right answer, but I think there's a policy, and honesty is that policy. Fired up. Thank you for writing in, Em. Fired up on this freaking dank-ass episode, Monet versus Manet. It's something that's confused me for a while, so I was happy to do the research. I'm happy to share this dank-ass knowledge with you dankatorians, dude. Stoked for another ep, dude. Any questions, comments, suggestions? I always enjoy a nice art episode. I always try to squeeze these in when I can. Email me, StriderWilsonTreads@gmail.com. All right, stay stoked, dude. Thanks, Aaron. You're a beast, dude.